What's the story, Morning Glory? What's the word, Hummingbird? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of 90 Day Fiancé Before the 90 Days, Season 8, Episode 9, Initial Descent. Let's start off with Daniel and Lisa, but before we get too deep into their story, I did want to mention that I saw on Reddit someone had screenshotted a post that Lisa's sister had made talking about Lisa being a scammer and how she had scammed family members out of money. And she gave several examples, and I think it was her sister and another relative, but I remember her sister clearly giving all these examples of Lisa being a scammer. She talked about how Lisa is like faking her southern accent because Lisa's from Pennsylvania, but you'll hear this southern drawl whenever she's talking. I think the sister was implying that Lisa was faking her accent. And then she tells this story about how Lisa was facing, or she was evicted. I think she was evicted and she was looking for a place to stay. Nobody would take her in. And so she had to go to a shelter. But for whatever reason, she couldn't get into the shelter right away. Either it was at full capacity or for whatever reason, they didn't let her into the shelter. So she came back and came back with her head shaved. She had shaved her hair and told the shelter that she was dying of cancer and that she needed a place to stay. So she faked a cancer story in order to get a room at a women's homeless shelter. That's one of the stories that the sister had told. So watching Daniel and Lisa getting all worked up about the possibility of Daniel scamming her, it's hilarious because, it seems like according to her sister that she herself was a scammer and she's the worst kind because allegedly she's scamming family members. So let's get into it. So when we see Lisa for the very first time in this episode, she is over the wig life. Her wig has been irritating the hell out of her. She says she's developing sores or a reaction to the wig glue. She's hot. The wig smells bad because she's been sweating over there in Nigeria. And so she's over it. So she's taking her wig off and she wants to let her own hair and scalp breathe. She's been wearing this wig for an entire week straight, and this is not something that she normally does. So to be wearing it consistently for so long, she's had it. She's done with it. So she takes it off and she gives her hair a nice, good shampooing, and she feels so good to feel the cool air on her actual scalp. And she also talks about how, for a while she's been dreading telling her daughter what's been going on in Nigeria since she arrived. But she said that the previous, whatever, however many days previously, she bit the bullet and she called her daughter and she told her daughter about the engagement. And of course, her daughter was upset about it. And the daughter was like, you don't know anything about this man, okay? You don't know anything about this man. So I'm going to need you to dig deep into his background and to figure out what's been going on with him in his own past. Like how many women has he been with, et cetera, et cetera. So this is what Lisa plans to do. She wants to know more of his background. She tells us that whenever she tries to bring up her background, he really doesn't want to hear it because it's going to open the door for her to ask him questions about his background. So she goes downstairs to the lobby because Daniel is waiting for her. And as soon as he sees her without the wig, he is just like he's shocked, speechless. He can't even talk. He can't even form a sentence when he sees her because he is absolutely shocked. And he's got this look of confusion on his face, like he doesn't even know who this woman is. So as he's looking at her, he's like he's trying to figure out, he's like, who are you? Like, what is this? And she tries to, retain her confidence and not break down because he's really looking at her crazy. And so she tells him, she says, let's get money out of the ATM. And you would have thought when he heard the words money and ATM that he would have, snapped out of his state of shock and confusion. And that would have brought him back down to earth, knowing that they're about to get some money. But no, that didn't even work. That didn't even distract him from what was going on her head. So he tells us that it is embarrassing to see her without her wig. He says that she looks older. He says that if they're going to be together, she's going to have to wear that damn wig every single time. Can you imagine a wig being a condition on whether or not you stay with somebody in a relationship? Daniel plans to introduce Lisa to his friends, and so he expects her to show up with that damn wig. And if she doesn't, he says it's going to be very embarrassing for him to show up at this meeting with his friends with a woman with, I guess, hair this short. But I was like, what difference would it make to the friends? They've never. I don't think they've really seen her before. The friends don't care if she shows up in a wig, in her own hair, bald. They don't care about none of that stuff. They don't care. Like, why would it be embarrassing if she showed up without a wig? So as they're walking outside, he like touches her hair, and he's touching it in a way as if this is something that he's never seen before. Like this is something from a whole nother planet. The guy is so bewildered by her natural hair. It's like embarrassing. It's embarrassing because Daniel, it's just hair. I don't understand like why this is such a big deal to him. So she tells him that, she had to air out her scalp and she had to wash her hair. I'm assuming she also washed the wig as well. And he tells her, well, if he had to do all of that wig maintenance, then you should have kept your butt in the room. You should never have even come out until everything was done and then you put your wig back on. I was like, what? So her whole life has to come to a screeching halt because she's giving her hair a break from this wig? Like what? So he tells her that when they're in public, she has to wear her wig. He does not want to be seen with her without it. And Lisa tells us that she feels embarrassed. She feels unattractive. She feels ugly because the man that she supposedly loves is having this type of reaction to her in her natural state. In her natural state, the way God created her. So they're on their way to meet his friends, and the wig is back, and he's calling her beautiful again. He's being all nice and sweet and loving again because, she put the wig back on. And so she begins to question whether or not he actually loves her for who she is. I'm like, girl, no, he doesn't. Whether you have the wig or you don't have the wig, he doesn't love you for who you are. He doesn't love you at all. He loves your money and he loves what your money does for him, but he doesn't love you, whether you got that wig on or you don't. So when they meet his friends, uh, she immediately says something that was not in English. And the reason why I'm saying it that way and not saying she said something in Igbo, because whenever she said whatever came out of her mouth, instead of the show translating what she said, if she really was speaking Igbo, the show puts a caption on the screen and says Lisa's attempt to speak Igbo. So that told me that whatever she said, like I know she was trying to impress the friends and trying to impress Daniel that she's able to speak Igbo, but whatever she said, it wasn't Igbo, because if it was Igbo, the show would have translated it. So she was speaking some type of gibberish that even the show didn't understand, but they just put in a caption Lisa's attempt in speaking Igbo. So Daniel introduces Lisa to all of his friends, and the first thing that they talk about is Daniel's poverty. And the friends tell Lisa that, you really pulled him out from the trenches because he was living a really bad life. He was destitute. He only had one pair of shoes that he was wearing. And then you came and you saved him. You saved him from a life of poverty. And Daniel even goes further on to say that not only did he have one pair of shoes, he also only had like one pair of shorts. And the shorts that he had, he said that there was some opening on the buttocks. And so he's walking around in these shorts with his butt exposed in the villages of Nigeria. And now he's leveled up. This woman has come and upgraded him. And now, he's dressed in the best of the best. So the friend says that Daniel's life greatly improved when he met her. And Lisa says, well, look, y'all are praising me for saving him and making his life better, but I'm working like a damn dog for him to maintain this lifestyle. She says, I'm working 15 hours a day, 7 days a week in order for him to look good. And I understand that she was trying to elicit some type of sympathy from these people, but they don't care. That flew completely over their head. No one was like, oh my God, Lisa, we feel so bad for you. You're working so hard to make sure that your man is taken care of. And, God bless you for putting in. No one said nothing like that. They were just like, well, you keep it up. You keep it up. Okay. Keep doing it. Keep them looking like this. Lisa wants to know if Daniel was really popular with the ladies. So she's going to try to get as much information from his friends about Daniel as she possibly can. And why she thinks that the friends would say anything negative or bad or revealing about Daniel, I don't know. I don't know. His friends were there to protect him and to cover him. And they're probably scamming, American women too. They're not going to blow his cover. I don't even know why she was even bothering with these questions. So she wants to know if he was really popular with the ladies. And they're like, yeah, he's a good looking guy. He got a lot of attention. Lisa questions, how can he have proposed to me so soon after us meeting? And the friend said that it was meant to be. Ordained by God, it was meant to be. The universe brought y'all together. You see, they're not gonna say that he was trying to secure the money bag as soon as possible. That he was trying to make sure that he had this woman in his clutches before she had a chance to change her mind or run back to America with her money. He wanted to secure the deal as quickly as possible. The friends weren't going to say that. So I don't know why she's even like bothering with this line of questioning, knowing that these men are just going to lie for him. So Lisa brings up how Daniel was talking to another female when he started talking to her. And so she wanted to get to the bottom of that. But the friends were like, we don't know what you're talking about. We have no idea what you're talking about. Lisa says that this other girl had told her that Daniel was a scam artist and for her to be on her guard. And Daniel did admit to talking to another female when he started talking to Lisa, but of course he denied trying to scam anybody. So she tells us how her gut told. So, okay, so I'm watching all of this, and in my mind, I'm thinking, her gut told her that Daniel was a scam artist. One of his victims contacts her and tells her that Daniel is a scam artist. But why she hasn't gotten up, gone straight back to her hotel, and packed her bags to leave Nigeria and come back to America, I don't know. She's still sitting there with these idiots. So the producers asked Daniel in his confessional, did he pursue other American women? And Daniel was like, yeah, I was talking to other women, and they're from America. So Lisa begs his friends to tell her the truth about who Daniel really is. Girl, they wouldn't tell you who Daniel really is in private, let alone right in front of Daniel. Why are you doing this? Why do people continue to make themselves look like idiots on TV? So like we all can assume that a lot of these couples are only here for notoriety and money. These relationships are far from being real. Everything is planned and concocted, especially the couples who claim that they've met online or that they met in an app. Those are the couples that I immediately write off as fake. Okay, these are just paid actors. I don't know if they auditioned. I don't know if they had an open call. I don't know if not the producers contacted them directly and say, "Hey, we want you on this show, and you're going to play the American woman who gets swindled by the Nigerian." But what I don't understand is like, why? How do you feel comfortable to come on a television show to look like an idiot? Okay, I understand faking a storyline because if I'm going to come on a reality TV show to fake a storyline, I'm going to make sure that I look good. I'm going to make sure that I don't look like some type of buffoon. But for these other people, it's like perfectly okay to look crazy, to look stupid, to look dumb, to look ignorant, because that's exactly how she's looking right now. You're asking his friends to expose their friend while the friend is sitting right there. Like, what do you expect them to say, Lisa? I understand that the truth has to be stretched and we have to sprinkle some lies, here and there on reality TV to make it more dramatic, to make it more interesting because there's a lot of money on the line for these shows. Advertisers are pumping in a lot of money to these networks. And so you want to make sure that the advertisers get exactly what they paid for, which is a bunch of viewers. But don't play with our intelligence. Stop playing with our intelligence. Her telling and begging his friends, oh, please give me all the dirt on Daniel. Tell me the truth about Daniel. I got to know what Daniel's really all about. And the guy is sitting right there next to you. They could have done this. They could have did this scene a whole lot better. But anyways, so she wants to she wants them to tell her who the real Daniel is. Of course, they were mum on that. And so she starts giving them this sob story about how she has to work so hard, to keep him laced up in his, I don't know if this is designer clothes or I don't know, just to keep him looking good. to make sure that his wardrobe is, looking right. He's got multiple pairs of shoes, and he's not walking around with his buttocks exposed. So she's going on and on about how she's working so hard and how she's going through a lot with her family because they don't really support this relationship. And nobody cared. All you heard was crickets after she got done talking. Just crickets. Nobody felt sorry for her. Nobody patted her hand. Nobody encouraged her. Like, keep up the good fight, Lisa. It's all going to be worth it at the end. It was just crickets. Like I said, the friends are probably running scams too. Lisa tells us that she feels like a sugar mama. Yeah, because you are. Because you are. And another thing, I'm pretty sure Lisa has watched 90 Day Fiancé in some variation before. And why you would want to come on this show to be scammed by a Nigerian, they must be paying you a pretty penny. Because you look stupid. You look absolutely stupid. The money has to be worth it for you to come up here looking this idiotic, Lisa. Because everybody knows the stories of the Nigerians with the older white American women and how they get scammed and so on and so forth. And it's a story as old as time. And here you are. I'm going to sign up. I want to be that older white woman who gets, bamboozled by a Nigerian. I want to play that part on this show. Why? Anywho. Let's move on to Rick and Trisha. So Rick gets them this, they go like on a little getaway, and he gets them this very luxurious upscale, I don't know what this is, like a bungalow in the trees, or a hut in the trees, and it's really beautiful and spacious and very luxurious looking. So where's Nick? Oh, maybe the show is paying for it, but if they're trying to imply that Rick is paying for this, my question is how? How is he affording any of this stuff, any of these trips, on the salary of a tap dancing teacher? Please, somebody explain to me. That's why I think he's got another source of income. Maybe the show is paying for all of it. So she really likes this bungalow that's up there in the middle of the jungles and the trees and everything. It's really beautiful. Their view, they get this spectacular view of like the ocean and everything. It was really lovely. So all of a sudden, he pulls out of his damn suitcase some things that he wants them to wear. And he talks about how lately he's been really into role playing. Like, okay. So he says lately he's really been into role playing, and so he wants them to get dressed up. And he's got these like Tarzan and Jane jungle outfits. So he's got himself a loincloth, and then he gives her this Jane outfit. I don't know what else to call it. She looked ridiculous. The outfit was so ugly. The girl is so pretty and young, and she's got a beautiful shape. Like, why would you buy this for her to wear? It looks like something your grandmother would wear for Halloween, trying to play, Jane of the Jungle or something. Or, I don't know, Pebbles from the Flintstones. I mean, she just looked absolutely ridiculous. So she puts it on. She absolutely hates it, but she tries to make the best of it because Rick was so excited about it. Any freaking who. So, like I said, she tried to make the best of it. And the next day, Rick decides that this is going to be the time for him to tell Trisha about what happened in Colombia with his ex-girlfriend. So he starts off by telling her that during the 5 days where they had no contact, he went to go see his ex. He says that the ex was the only person who was willing to listen to him. Okay, he's got like a plethora of children. He's got a family. He's got friends. But the ex was the only one willing to listen to his problems, even though we had a scene early on of him talking to his family at the barbecue. He was talking to his family about the issues he was having with Trish. But he wants her to believe that the ex was the only one willing to lend him an ear when it came to whatever he was going through with Trish. So he said that he was feeling lonely and he was feeling abandoned, and already he's working up his justification of his cheating. And he said that he thought that she didn't want him anymore because she had refused to reach out to him. And she gets to the bottom of it, and she's like, did you have sex with her? Just tell me if you had sex with her. And he's like, yes, I did. Trisha was hurt. Trisha was pissed. And he basically put all the blame on her. And he said to her that, because she wasn't contacting him, she wasn't reaching out to him during those 5 days, he basically thought that she didn't want him anymore. She said that she thought that Rick was different from all the other guys. And I'm like, Trisha, you're so young. You're so young and naive. For you to say something like that, for you to look at this man and think that he was going to be different from other men, like how? How could you think that? The mere fact that he's half a century old and he wants to chase around a 20-something-year-old girl, that right there should tell you that he's no different from any other dirty old man out there. So for her to be like, I thought you were different. I thought you were different from other. That just showed how naive, young, and dumb you are, Trish. Naive, young, and dumb. Because anybody can see a Rick coming from a mile away, from 10 miles away. As soon as you lay eyes on this fool, you know he's up to no good. You know he's up to nothing but shenanigans. He's not different. He's the stereotypical dirty old man. So he says, well, now that we've actually met in person and, you've explained what happened during those 5 days and I'm told you what I did during those 5 days, let's go ahead and start fresh. And Trisha's hurt. She's hurt that after she had told him how her ex-boyfriend cheated on her, after she had told him that, he turns around and does the same exact thing. And I've always said, when a person says, when you tell someone, this is what I've gone through in my past relationships, they're going to use that against you. And whatever was done to you in the past by somebody else that really hurt you, and you think, well, I'm going to tell my new partner, this is what I've been through, so that they cannot do that, because you think that you are with someone who can be empathetic and who's human and who has feelings and who can be compassionate. So you tell your new boyfriend, my ex-boyfriend really cheated on me. I was really hurt by them cheating on me, and I don't ever want to go through that again. And you're thinking that they're listening to you and they're thinking to themselves, okay, I will never do this to her. I will never cheat on her because of what she went through in the past. It's the exact opposite that's going to happen. They're going to do exactly what hurt you so deeply in the past. It's going to repeat itself. I promise you. Because look what happened to Trish. She confides in Rick saying, oh, my ex-boyfriend cheated on me. I didn't like it. It really hurt me. He turns around and what does he do? Just because he hadn't heard from her in 5 days, less than a week, he hops on a plane and he goes to a whole nother country and cheats on her. He put more work into that infidelity than he did in just staying calm and giving her time to do whatever she had to take care of, and then, go back to being together again, go back to contacting each other again. He would rather put in the money, the effort, the energy to go to a whole nother country to cheat on her because he was feeling ignored and abandoned because she had a lot going on in her life. And she even told him, I did reach out to you during those 5 days. I did tell you that I was going through a lot. Give me some time and I'll be back. And he says to her, well, that wasn't enough. I still felt like something else was going on. He cheated on her because he wanted to. He probably had been cheating on her the whole entire time. The whole entire time, been cheating on her with locals, been cheating on her internationally. The whole entire time, he's probably been with other women, because it just doesn't make any sense that your girlfriend, and I know that at the time, he probably didn't know that it was going to last 5 days. And maybe they were so used to talking to each other every single day that a day or two without talking to her was like a red flag to him. Totally understandable. But if that's how he felt within those 5 days, if he felt like, okay, I think she's cheating on me, or I think she's pulling away from me, then what you do as a decent human being, you break up with her. You break it off with her. And you let her know, I've been trying to get in contact with you. You're not responding. I think it's better that we just go our separate ways, because I'm not getting what I need out of this relationship. But instead, you decided to cheat on her. So he basically blames her. He did not apologize to her, not one time. I was waiting for the I'm sorry, Trish. It never came. He never said the words I'm sorry or I apologize. None of that. He never apologized. The only thing he did was blame her because you didn't contact me, because you weren't talking to me, because you were ignoring me. I went ahead and I did this. And to him, it's justifiable. It makes sense in his mind. So they're on the boat ride back to, I guess, back to wherever they came from. And he's still justifying his actions. He's still trying to, say, well, you were contacting me, blah, blah, blah. And he thought that she was cheating on him. And then she asked him that when she did respond within those 5 days, when she did respond to him, why didn't he cancel his trip? And he says to her, well, things were still not adding up to me. So he acknowledges that she did contact him, because he always is going back and forth, where he makes it seem like, she just disappeared for 5 days. I had no idea where she was, because that's how he made it seem like to his family. Like, she just poof, she was gone. I had no idea what was going on, no contact with her in 5 days. But then he admits that she did contact me. She did give me a reason of why she was going to MIA on me, but it wasn't adding up. He didn't believe what she said. He probably didn't want to believe what she said, because he was already on his way to cheating. He was already on his way to Cheatingville. So he probably didn't want to believe anything she was saying regardless. This is another one. Like, Trish, you need to just tell this man, get your stuff and just go back to America and leave me the hell alone. And go no contact again, because this is just ridiculous and foolish. And in their confessional, she's crying. She's talking about, what am I going to tell my dad? You're going to tell your dad that you made a mistake, that you hooked up with a jive turkey who wasn't about a damn thing and wants to cheat on you and then gaslight you when you are questioning his behavior, and he still won't apologize for what he did. And he thinks it's absolutely justifiable for him to fly to a whole other country to cheat on you because you didn't pick up your phone for a couple of days. Moving on to Bercon, and Laura. So it's the day after they met with Bercon's friends. Remember, when they met with the friends told Bercon in their own language that he needed to confess to Laura and tell her that he is a gambler and that he probably has a gambling problem. And he decided not to tell her at that moment. So that whole day went by with her not even knowing that he's a gambler. So it's the next day, and he has planned this really nice trip. And I'm like, how did he pay for this trip? I mean, was it free to go to the castle? Because they take a tour of this ancient castle, and like, I guess the show must have paid for it. Anyways, I don't know. So he takes her to this like romantic getaway. They take a tour of this beautiful castle. It's set in this coastal town. Everything was really picturesque. So they get a chance to talk, and she wants to know, how did he accumulate so much debt? And he said that he started these businesses, these bars, restaurants of, what do you call it? Some bars or restaurants or something. And during COVID, everything had to shut down, and he went bankrupt. And that's what got him into all of this debt, because he was borrowing money from the banks to start these businesses, and he couldn't pay the loans off because COVID hit and his businesses were shut down. And so he says that in order to try to pay off his debt, what he decided to do was he decided to start gambling. And she asked him if any of his debt accumulated because of the gambling, and he told her no, it was strictly from the bank loans. So Bercon says that gambling is the only way for him to make money, which is ridiculous. You're a gambling addict. That's not the only way for you to make money. You're a gambling addict, okay? You can definitely get a job somewhere in Turkey. So she says, for Valentine's Day, instead of sending you a gift, I sent you money. She sent him about $100, and she wanted to know, did you gamble that away? He was like, yeah, I gambled it. But 100 American dollars converts to 5,000 Turkish currency. And he bet that money. He gambled that money. And he says that he got a return of $20,000. So his 5,000 Turkish money turned into 20,000 Turkish money. And he said with that money, he was able to pay his rent. And so she was like, if you would have lost that money, I would have been really pissed off. And then she says, but you know what? Even though you won it, I'm still very pissed off because you're a gambler. Instead of getting a decent job, you'd rather gamble. And so she wants to know, how is this going to be affecting our future? And Bercon tells her, well, I'm not going to gamble your money. And I know when she asked that, she was asking, if we're going to get serious with one another and we ended up getting married, are you going to still gamble? That's what she wanted to know. And he tells her, I'm not going to gamble your money. I'm going to gamble my own money. And he goes, if I make $4,000, I'm going to give you, he says, if I make $5,000, I'm going to give you 4,000 and I'm going to keep 1,000 for myself to go gamble. And he says that he's not, the producers ask him if he's got a gambling problem or if he's an addict. And he says, no, I'm not an addict because I don't care if I win or lose. Addicts care if they win or lose. I don't care if I win or lose. So why gamble if you don't care if you win or lose? So why do you gamble? And he is definitely an addict because he's chasing that big jackpot, because he talks about how, you know, um, gambling, and whenever he's successful, and he's an addict. He's an addict because he's chasing the big jackpot. And to me, that's the sign of a gambling addict. Not that you care whether you win or lose. The sign of a gambling addict is someone who really believes that, if he plays his cards right, if he bets on the right team, he's going to hit that jackpot. He's a gambling addict. Laura, I need you to pack your bags and I need you to return to the United States pronto, ASAP. Stop wasting your time on this. This man is going to put you in ruins. You're going to find yourself in financial ruins if you don't get the hell out of there. Moving on to Emma and Zied. So there's still a lot of tension between them because after they had dinner with his friends, or during the dinner with his friends, his friends asked Zied, what is the probability of you marrying Emma? And he said 0%. And so she pretended to be hurt by that. And the reason why I say pretended is because Zied and Emma to me are just completely disingenuous, fake, phony, fraudulent. Just nothing about this is remotely real. But anyway, so Zied said that he only said 0% for the moment that they're in. He's like, yes, there's a 0% of us getting married for right now. Right now. There's 0% of us getting married because we're still trying to get to know each other, or whatever excuse he gave her. Emma points out how ever since she's arrived in Morocco, Zied has been very negative towards her. He hasn't been loving. He hasn't been warm with her. He hasn't been caring. She compares it to how the relationship was online, because online he was, very loving. And she felt like this guy really liked me. He showed her how much he liked her. But now that they are together in person, like they're physically together now, it's not the same yet. And so he promises that he's going to try to do better. The next time we see them, he's making her dinner. And he tells us that he's never, ever, ever cooked for a woman before. So it's a big deal that he's cooking her dinner. And so they're eating dinner, and she asked him, what is the probability of you marrying me now? And he told her, it's 7%. 7% probability that I would want to marry you right now. She then tells him that she wants dessert. And when she said that, I think she was implying, the not like cake and ice cream. Okay. She wanted him for dessert, but he didn't get it. So later on, they talk about the dessert. She's like, I want dessert now. Meaning, she wants to sleep with him. And he thought she said desert. And so she explains, no, dessert, like ice cream. And then they talk about the desert, and he tells her that he plans on taking her to the desert for a trip. And she's really excited about that because she's always wanted to go to the desert. So the next time that we see Emma, she's packing up for their desert trip. She tells her producers that they had sex, and that they had sex twice. And I was like, girl, he's, I don't think he wants you to reveal that on television. So a lot of people online have been saying that that Zied is, his whole thing about, no, I don't want to sleep with you until we're married, and we can't touch, and we can't hold hands, and we can't hug, and we can't that it's all for the cameras. That because of his religion, he has to present himself a certain way. But behind closed doors, they're freaked out. Okay. And Emma tells us that they did it twice. And I felt like she was really this is how this relationship is fake. Because if she cared about this man at all, Okay, if she had the ability to care for him, like this was her real boyfriend, she wouldn't have told him that. They would have had a discussion already, and he would have been like, "Hey, we can do what we want to do behind, behind the scenes, but on camera, girl, I can't look like, I no." So on camera, we're going to be very, we're not doing anything, we're not touching, we're not kissing, and da, da, da. But of course, on camera, we can go back to what we normally do. So for her to say this on camera, I was like, she's just trying to be dramatic for the. I don't know. It was just stupid. That to me was the biggest clue that this just is not. It's not real. She wouldn't have done this if they were in a real relationship. I don't think she would have done this. So not only does she say that they did it twice, she begins to describe his anatomy in great detail. And then, like, this is a Muslim man. Emma, are you this dense? Let's give her the benefit. Let's give them the benefit of the doubt that this is a real relationship. If you, girl, you dated a Moroccan before, so you were very familiar with their culture and the do's and don'ts of their religion. So now here you are exposing him for, going against his religion by sleeping with you, and then you go in even further and you're describing his anatomy, his private parts on camera, knowing that this man is going to eventually see this. Just absolutely no respect for herself, for him. I don't know what's going on, y'all. It's just, it's so exhausting talking about Emma. She says that she's hoping for a proposal, and because now that they've done it, she's like, she's really expecting him to propose to her. But she wants to tell him about her ex-boyfriend first. She wants to come clean about Muhammad. Who cares? Let's move on. Jovon and Anna Lynn. So there's still tension between them from their previous conversation the night before, because Anna Lynn had told Jovon that she wanted more romance in their relationship. And he told her, well, I provide for you, so that should be enough. I don't have to do anything above that. I don't have to do anything other than making sure that your bills are paid. So that really hurt her feelings because she wants to feel the love. She wants to feel the romance, and he's just not giving it to her. So he thinks, okay, so not only that, but she also complained about how even though he's choosing to provide for her, because he's one of those people that believes that a man should provide for the woman, he's very traditional in that sense. He's choosing to provide for her, to take care of her. But, and this is his wife, okay, this is his wife. So the fact that he's choosing to provide for her is not anything extra or admirable. It's the basic thing that a husband does for his wife. So the problem with Jovon, though, is that he throws it in her face that she does nothing all day. She's lazy. He's the one that's working hard to maintain her lifestyle. Like, he tries to make her feel guilty for living the way she lives, but he's choosing to do this. Like, it's just stupid. It doesn't make any sense. You're providing for your wife, but then you want her to feel bad that you're providing for her. So that's what's going on between them. So they're having a conversation, and he says, I really want you just to be more appreciative for what I do for you. So what does that mean? Like, every single month that you pay her bills, you want her to say thank you? Like, every single time you buy her a pair of shoes, you want her to call you and say thank you? Like, what do you mean? She tells him that it's not easy being his wife, that she puts up with a lot from him. And I don't think she told us a quarter of what she puts up with Jovon. But she talks about how he's very negative. She can say that, oh, such a beautiful day today. And he'll say, oh, but look at that cloud over there. It's going to start raining soon. He always is the Debbie Downer, and she's sick of it. So he tells her that he's going to try to be more positive, but he wants her to promise him that she's going to cut him a little bit of slack. What does that even mean? What do you mean? I think he said something about she nags him too much. I don't know what these people are talking about. Their biggest fight was when he confronted her about, telling his sister about their problems. And then she hit him back with, well, you're telling your female friend about our problems, a female friend that you have a history with. You're telling her. I'm like, why aren't we talking about that? Why aren't we talking about that? Because I felt like that was her biggest issue. The fact that he's still hanging on to this other female that he had an attraction to at some point in the past. What are we doing? Anyways, so he asks her, so are we good now? And she says, yes, we're good. And they're far from being good. You know they're far, far from it. Jovon and Anna Lynn, to me, are a very weird couple. Extremely weird. They don't know each other. They're married, but they don't even know they don't know each other. Their whole entire marriage is taking place online. And now that they're physically there with each other, they're struggling. They're struggling. They don't know each other. They don't know if they actually fit together as a married couple. They don't know what the hell they're doing. Jovon is just out there fumbling around. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know what to do as Anna Lynn's husband. He has no clue. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, please don't forget to rate the video. If you like this content, subscribe to my channel, and I'll definitely talk to you later. Bye.